I think a lot of people when they saw Helldivers 2 thought, isn't that just Warhammer 40k? And with that, I think there's some ground to stand on. Now, there was a tweet or something in a Discord at some point where they said that there was going to be a Warhammer 40k mode when this game launched. Originally, there was going to be a partnership, and I cannot find that tweet anywhere. So if any of you have that proof or that Discord or wherever it was, I would love to have that because I know I saw it. I know they admitted it, but it is lost to the history, the Discords, the Twitter, wherever it is. I cannot find it for the life of me. So if you have it, send it my way. But let's take a look at some stuff. Let's look at some enemies, some designs, and really compare them and see, does this look like Warhammer 40k? So let's just look at the Vet Guard to start, because they're my favorite team in Warhammer 40k. It's the team that I play, the Death Cult of Krieg. And as you can see, there's very clearly an easy parallel to draw from the Death Cult of Krieg, the Veteran Guard, to the Helldivers. You have a bunch of faceless people all wearing the same mask, wearing the same uniform, marching in and destroying things against overwhelming odds. Like, it's very, very obvious, but I will also say, like, they're not alone in this, right? Halo had the same thing. Doom at one point had a little bit of the same thing, not the Doomslayer, but just a bunch of faceless, nameless Marines, you know, doing the same thing. So the idea of a army of clones, you know, maybe Clone War, Star Wars, all the same, looking the same, wearing the same armor, going against overwhelming odds, you know, that's not original to Helldivers, right? And I wouldn't even say it's original to Warhammer 40k. That's kind of been around forever and ever. I mean, armies have had uniforms since ever. You look at 300 and the Spartan uniforms as an example of something from an older time. So I wouldn't say that that's proof that this was a Warhammer 40k game to start, but the inspiration's very clearly there. Next, let's take a look at the basic Necron unit. You got robotic with big gun, kind of humanoid design. Again, this is nothing too original, but you can see that you could say there was an inspiration there. But it's also very easy to say, like, the idea of a humanoid robot, again, all looking the same, fighting in an army. It's not exactly original, so I would debate that. I would say you could see inspiration there, but again, it's not original to Warhammer exclusively, so is that proof? I don't really take that one as proof. Now here's where it gets dicey, the Hulk Bruisers. This is one where if you show this to someone who's never played Helldivers before, they're just gonna be like, oh, that's that guy from Warhammer, isn't it? That's the Dreadnought armor, or that's the Redeemer armor, or something of that nature. And to that I would say, I think you're pretty right. Like, that one doesn't look close at all. That's the Redeemer armor. But then when you look at, like, the Dreadnought, like, oh yeah, that's just a one-for-one rendition of the Dreadnought armor, right? Like, that is so clearly the same thing as the Hulk Bruiser. It's hard to imagine as anything not but the Hulk Bruiser. And it would be so easy to swap these two models in-game that I could say, yeah, you could easily put a Warhammer 40k mode. You could easily make the Hulks look like that and continue to play the game exactly as it is. Let's take a look at the Scout Striders, the Walkers. Very, very simple. Again, I'm not going to say that Warhammer invented this idea, but if we look at their designs for their Walkers, like, it's darn near one for one, right? Like, you've got the little pilot up in there, you got the two legs, you got the cannon to the side. Like, it basically is a one-to-one recreation of the Warhammer 40k Walker. When we look at the Rocket Devastators, this one again is going to look very, very familiar to something in universe. You've got the shoulder-mounted rockets, big bulky armor, and then boom, you've got the exact same thing in Warhammer. And again, this isn't something I would say that belongs to Warhammer. I mean, you could even say like the Mad Cat from Mech Warrior would look the same basic design, you know, shoulder-mounted rockets, big heavy armor. So again, it's not that I'm saying they're ripping it off 100%. I'm not saying that it's 100% confirmed this game is Warhammer, but that's pretty darn close. And with all the other evidence mounting, it becomes more and more plausible at the very least. Now let's talk a little bit about the bugs. I will admit I had a hard time finding art for the bugs. Like, it was very hard to find Tyranids for the Warhammer 40k models that match the ones exactly from Helldivers. If you have them, again, show me please, I'd love to see them. However, as I was reading through the descriptions, it was very clear that there's still at least some inspiration, or they're just very close or made intentionally to be able to be swapped one for one. if you look up the Lexicana, which is like the big Wikipedia for Warhammer 40k, and go to like biomorph sections, you'll see sections about Tyranids that have long tentacles that shoot out of their mouths. You'll find Tyranids that are large and walk on many legs that spew large amounts of bile. You have ones that are heavily armored and charge forward. You have ones that launch spines. These are all things that we've seen in Helldivers. So again, I can't find art of these things in action. It's possible they just haven't been like in a game or anything. Obviously there should be some form of like physical model that they're playing on the board game or tabletop, but that's a little bit different, right? That doesn't always have them like spewing out bile and things like that. So I couldn't find art to put here, but rest assured I did find plenty of descriptions that pretty much match one for one bile titans, bile spewers, chargers, and even ones we haven't seen yet, like from Helldivers 1, the ones that fire spikes and things of that nature. So even their name, you have the Tyranids and then you have the Terminids. Like, it's very, very close. I think you could easily swap those two and have a Warhammer 40k game. We even have some leaked files of, in one of our missions, we are going to be completely destroying a planet. Like, we're going to fire a giant cannon at the planet that's going to wipe all life off the planet and destroy it 100%. And that happens in Warhammer a whole lot. I forget what it's called, but they can call them that, like that special order where they terminate an entire planet and just make it a dead planet using a giant bioweapon, chemical weapon, something of that nature. I'm drawing a blank on its name. I'm sure there'll be some Warhammer 40k fans in the comments who will correct me and tell me every way that I'm wrong, but it exists. So I think it's pretty undeniable that this game could have been a Warhammer 40k game. As I said, there was a tweet that said that it originally was going to be, but there was some last minute licensing issues, so they had to swap everything over. That tweet has since been lost. If you have it, please send it my way. If you enjoyed this, please tell me. And of course, if there's any units that I missed or any comparisons that I missed, please leave them in the comments below so that we can look at those in the next video.